Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Well, we're going to talk about this ballroom that seems to be changing suddenly into a big bunker underground. Now, Donald Trump said, oh, since the White House has been here, there's been no ballroom, no facility. And I really personally never thought that the White House should have a ballroom. You know what I mean? That was not a necessity. But now I understand it's a cover. They said Donald Trump has expanded the bunker that was already there, the existing bunker. He's making it bigger. Now, I've heard all these different sizes, but I don't know, but they're saying he is expanding upon it. And you know what? I believe it because if you look at the White House, they tore down that East Wing a while ago. And if he was just building a ballroom, you should see, like some progress. There's no progress. It's all just torn down on the outside, and you don't see no activity. That's because all the activity is going on underground. That's why you're not seeing any progress on the outside. Because I'm like, if he's building a ballroom, why don't we see the ballroom being built? You don't see nothing. You just see a bunch of rubble and debris all over the ground, but no progress on anything being built. Well, it's all coming out, and actually, this is accidental that it's coming out. It came out in court documents that he is making the existing bunker larger. Now, that makes sense. Now, we remember what he said on the campaign trail and even shortly after he was inaugurated. Oh, yeah, in 2028, you won't have to worry about voting again. Yeah, because he has no intentions on leaving. All right. That bunker is there for two reasons. Number one, he's not going to leave at the end of 2028, he's going to stay. He wants to be the permanent president until the last day on this earth for him. Number two, if Iran or any of Iran's allies decide to retaliate on the US, he can go down in the bunker while the rest of us stay above ground. Because both him and JD Vance, Donald Trump and JD Vance, both said, yes, it's coming, an attack on the US soil from this war with Iran. It's definitely coming. This is according to them. So, y'all, we shall see. But I knew that ballroom was not the only thing going on. And if memory serves me correct, many of us had guessed that. You know, Donald Trump, I think most people knew something else was going on other than that ballroom. But if you look at shots, recent shots of the White House, you don't see no progress. That's why I was like, I noticed, okay, shouldn't we see like walls going up and stuff? You don't see nothing. That's because all of the workers are underground. And number two, the first crew of construction workers he hired, they all left. So this crew he got now is the second crew. So yeah, so Donald Trump, yeah, well, look, it don't matter. It's $300 million. Now, at first, he claimed the ballroom was $200 million, and they were donations from people that just gave donations, MAGA, to Donald Trump. Then all of a sudden, Donald Trump tried to get money out of the US government for the same amount of money. All right. then it suddenly jumped from $200,000 to $300,000 now. But the that ballroom is really just a front for something else that's going on. So he intends on going down in that bunker with his family. That's what he intends on doing. And if he lose the election, he's going to stay there and refuse to leave and refuse to concede, or he's going to do something to stop the election altogether. Like, oh, well, there's a war going on, so we can't have no election. He may pull that one too. Yeah, 200 billion. Well, it's jumped up to 300 billion now. 300 billion. Now, I've heard different sizes on how big this bunker is going to be, but from what I understand, it's going to be huge. Mhm. Yeah, well, Donald Trump better just pray he's breathing in 2028 because he's been looking bad lately. He has been looking really physically bad. And at the rate he's going, is he certain he's even going to be around in 2020? Man, he looks bad. Every single picture I look at him now, he looks worse than he did before. Yeah, it will be. That's why I said it doesn't matter if he's spending $300 billion on some bunker. You think the Most High can't get to you down in that bunker? It doesn't matter if you spend 30,000 for it or 300,000 or whatever. He will still get you, even down in those bunkers. Now, if you remember, during the lockdown, that's when bunker sales exploded in the country. A lot of people were running to buy those bunkers during the pandemic. It was exploding back then. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are still getting them, but you don't really hear about it as much. They don't have it in the media like they used to. But yeah, I should have known it was not just a ballroom. And I said it was something else going on there. So let's get into it, y'all, because a lot of people caught on to the fact that that ballroom was kind of odd. And it was. Donald Trump, you can't even dance. You want a ballroom and you can't dance. And I doubt if anybody is coming to the ballroom to see Melania dance. So, anyway, y'all. No, it won't. It sure won't, Christopher. No bunker is going to do them any good. It's not going to be much of a hiding spot for them like they think. Absolutely not. Yeah, well, it's going to go on for, I think it's going to go on for the next few years. I don't think it's going to end at all in 2026. And plus, Iran don't seem to be interested in stopping the war. They don't seem interested at all. The only one that wants to end it and claim victory is Donald Trump. But Iran, nah, they're like, this will end when we say it will end. But they said they are going to punish the U.S. for bombing them for no reason. They're going to punish the U.S. for that mess. And they mean that. Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. So let me share my screen because now a lot of people are finding out about him building up this bunker down there. Mm-hmm. Please give me a one if you can see my screen. Oh yeah. Well, see, that's how people like Donald Trump think. It's not just him, it's all these billionaires and millionaires that have these bunkers, and they think we're going to get wiped out and they're going to be left. It would be stupid for the group that has poor birth rate to be the ones left. Okay, because y'all going to eventually croak, and then what's going to be left? The insects? You wouldn't be the ones that should be left, to be honest with you, if you don't have no birth rate. Thank you, everybody.
Donald Trump is paying tribute to the mustache man with his big, beautiful ballroom. Let me cook. I have receipts. Okay. In 1935, on July 21st, Mustache Man announced, he did plans for expanding the Reich Chancellery. That's what it is. You can see the courtyard and stuff there. He did this because it was not it was not big enough, did not have enough space in it. Okay, so he's expanding the Reich Chancellery because it didn't have enough space. One of the things he put in was a reception room or ballroom. He put in a ballroom. Okay, you know what was below the Mustache Man's ballroom? Bunkers. Mustache Man had bunkers underneath his ballroom that he expanded because the building wasn't big enough. And he announced all this on July 21st, 1935. You know what happened on July 31st, 2025? Near about 90 years later, within 10 days of 90 years, Donald Trump announced that he is building the big, beautiful ballroom because the White House needs to be expanded, doesn't have what it needs. You know what's underneath the big, beautiful ballroom? A bunker. Donald Trump is paying homage to the Mustache Man with the big, beautiful ballroom. I fucking cooked, and you've been served.
It's not about the ballroom. He's secretly building a state-of-the-art bunker where the old one is. He's planning on staying in power for the rest of his life. That's why he didn't go through the proper channels. He's trying to create an emergency before the midterms so there will be no voting, and he and his regime will stay in power. And where are those people who fought to keep statues up to preserve history?
If he's planning on staying in power, why on earth would he need a bunker to do so? Did you think about that? And also, where did you get this inside information? I don't think you seem like the type that knows anybody currently working in this administration. I don't get that vibe. Is it maybe because you found out yesterday that there is a bunker and there's been one for years and you're like, oh my gosh, that's it. I will say one thing. You guys are consistently wrong. I have never seen a group of people put so many ridiculous conspiracy theories on the table, be consistently wrong, and then just come up with the next thing. And this post has so many likes and shares. At least our side has pretty much been right about everything.
Do you guys remember when they announced this right here? This is the ballroom. I think it was right after Charlie Kirk's death, like the day after, and then Trump was talking about the ballroom, which was really weird.
How are you holding up over the last 3.5 years? I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks. They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years.
And then a few of us were saying, I'll bet you it's going to be like a military bunker basement. And everyone's like, crazy conspiracy theorist. Then made fun of us.
Ceilings, everything's drone proof and bulletproof. And unfortunately, we're living in an age where that's a good thing. And this is the view from the Treasury, opposite the Treasury. Let me see another one of them. Here's a view on the south with the porch, which is a porch, and it's also a fire stair, basically leading down to the grounds. And that porch will be magnificent, looking in between the columns. And they no longer, we took the stairs out that were in the south side and really replaced them with these stairs. So you have an open porch and you have the closed porch under the columns overlooking the Washington Monument, the Jefferson Memorial, and the Lincoln Memorial / Monument. So that's great. This is a view of the columns as they are going to be made. They're going to be hand carved and they're beautiful. Top of the line. They'll be Corinthian, which is considered the best, most beautiful by far. Okay. What's your timeline on this thing? Timeline. So we're ahead of schedule and under budget, and all of this money, all of the money paid are paid by myself and donors, and it's all donors. There's not one dime of government money going into the ballroom. Now the military is building a big complex under the ballroom, which has come out recently because of a stupid lawsuit that was filed. But the military is building a massive complex under the ballroom, and that's under construction, and we're doing very well. So we're ahead of schedule. That's part of it. The ballroom essentially becomes a shed for what's being built under the military, including from drones and including from any other thing. The glass on the windows, you see the big windows. The glass is extremely thick. It's high-grade bulletproof glass. So all of
I've been side-eyeing this whole White House ballroom saga from day one. But damn, if it didn't feel like that nagging itch, you can't scratch until now refutable proof that it's all smoke and mirrors. Courtesy of Andrew Kerr, this architect with 2 decades under his belt on federal builds, who just eviscerated the whole thing in a Facebook post that's equal parts blueprint autopsy and mic drop. And get this, he crunched the numbers on that supposed $300 million price tag for 90,000 square feet, landing at $3,333 a square foot. Even the ritziest federal gigs top out around $1,000 anything more. And you're not building a party palace. You're funding a Black Ops lair or something equally unhinged. But wait, it gets wonkier and way more suspicious. Kerr points out the rendering's geometry is straight up defying physics. The exterior footprint screams 380 by 235 feet. But those cozy interior shots, they're clocking in at maybe 200 by 100 to 20,000 square feet tops. You can't squeeze a cathedral into a coat closet, folks. This thing doesn't add up unless it's a fever dream from some AI like Grok spitting out concepts in coffee break mode. Or whoever's left haunting the halls from that Doge fever swamp. Slapdash construction drawings that scream rushed in a weekend. Only Amp the Farzu greenlights a national monument on napkin sketches. So, if it's not a ballroom in trust, it's not, what the hell are they excavating under the East Wing? Hear me out. Prime real estate right on top of the PEOC bunker, that fortified nerve center with tunnels snaking to the Treasury, Capitol, and God knows where else, humming with secure comes and classified cables. This isn't random dirt digging, it's a stone's throw from the government's digital veins. Smells like an underground data fortress. The kind Larry Ellison buried 9 stories deep in Jerusalem, 460,000 square feet of Oracle bunkers. 160 feet below ground, clocking in at $319 million a pop. Yeah, Trump's ballroom is already scraping that budget, and it's only ballooning fiscal poetry, right? Ellison's vision for automating the Fed's centralized servers, zero latency. The Prez's finger on the kill switch fits like a glove. And here's the neon red flag waving like it's trying to flag down a freight train. It's all private money. Trump, the same grifter, who torched $3.9 billion in taxpayer cash to pimp out Air Force One like his personal sky yacht, who stuck the Secret Service with Mar-a-Lago room tabs like they were his valet. Suddenly, he's all, no gov funds for this. Baby, that screams it's not for his ego. Predate it's for someone else's endgame. Scan the donor roster. Lockheed Martin dropping millions. The defense behemoth churning out F-35 stealth jets that vanish into thin air. Hypersonic missiles that rewrite skies, and drone swarms that hunt targets like it's a video game. Then Booz Allen Hamilton, the shadowy consulting vampires, sucking $10 billion yearly from Intel contract cyber shields for the NSA. Predictive analytics that flag threats before breakfast. Basically, the ghostwriters of America's surveillance Bible, and Palantir. Oh, Peter Thiel's, Data Dragon, the one building Gotham platforms that sift petabytes for the CIA, ICE, and DoD mapping migrant routes with AI that feels like Minority Report on steroids. Or wargaming urban battles in real time. These aren't debutante ball backers. They're architects of the forever war and the panopticon state. funneling cash into a ballroom that had housed their server farms like it's Christmas morning. Weird. It's a 5-alarm fire warhawks and data overlords bankrolling a hole in the ground under the oval, while the rest of us scrape by on food stamps. Don't get it twisted. This is about locking down the brain trust. Automating the machine so one glitchy algorithm runs the show, with these cores hardwired in from the jump. And yeah, it reeks dystopian. But here's the gut whisk that keeps me up. Hitler pulled the same vanity stunt, commissioning a gilded ballroom in his Berlin chancellery and a towering Arc de Triomphe knockoff to parade his eternal Reich. Monuments to ego masking the real grind underground, bunkers and command centers where the real power festered. Trump's echoing that blueprint, marble facades over server crypts, all while the donors circle like vultures. If that's not giving full-on Third Reich remix, what is? Let's connect the dots together.
Of course it's a bunker. It was never supposed to be a ballroom because it never made sense that we would need to build one of the largest ballrooms in the world to accommodate 1,000 people. A ballroom that is 60% larger than the White House by floor area and 3 times larger by volume. Or that Trump would volunteer out of the goodness of whatever semblance of a heart he has left to live in a construction zone for a good part of the remainder of his term just so that Gavin and Jennifer can use that ballroom for their inaugural ball. The ballroom is essentially a shed over the massive military complex they're building underneath it. But I remember another guy who built a grand Reichschancellery complete with an exquisite ballroom, and underneath it was the Führer bunker protected by 13 feet of concrete. It's now a parking lot. The reason that the ballroom architecture doesn't make sense is because it wasn't built to be a ballroom. These features are just there to cover up the features of the bunker, which is why it doesn't matter to them that the design ruins the symmetry, or that the columns block the interior view from the ballroom, or that the grand staircase at the front leads to nowhere. What a fitting metaphor that is, by the way, to our country under Donald Trump.
Bro is building an underground bunker so when World War III hits the fan and nukes start getting fired back and forth, March Van, you guessed it, death, Sean's going to be moving, grooving, vibing, sliding to the complex underneath. It's a fake ballroom. I said that shit a long time ago. And obviously it was at first a conspiracy, but I don't be wrong. I be early.
Recently, because of a stupid lawsuit that was filed, but the military is building a massive complex under the ballroom. And that's under construction, and we're doing very well. So we're ahead of schedule. That's part of it. The ballroom essentially becomes a shed for what's being built under.
Yeah, y'all. They're saying what they're building underground is 33,000 square feet. That's how big of space they're going to be using underground for this bunker. That is a lot of. He ain't lying. When he said massive, it's supposed to be 33,000 square feet. What they're putting underground.
The military, including from drones and including from any other thing.
I've been trying to tell y'all, he is building a forever home. He called it a stupid lawsuit because he didn't want it to come out that they're building an underground complex. He said for the military. Bitch, that's for him and his loser circle of friends, which he also said out loud, I like hanging out with losers, man. I like people that be dicky eating on their knees. So if you're in his circle right now, he basically called you guys losers and dick eaters. Henny Hegseth, Dewey Patel, I'm looking at y'all. This is what dictators do. They enrich themselves. They put their pictures all over the place. They put their signature on the dollar bill, and then they build underground bunkers for themselves where they don't got to go far. And then let's say people wanted to revolt. Where are you going to be at? Underground in the White House. Oh, shit. We just bombed somebody else, and now they finally bombing us. Where he going to be at? Safe from drones, from attacks, because he knows shit's about to hit the fan. That's why he's so obsessed with it and the progress and how he needs to speed through it, because he knows shit getting real in the field. And one thing about him, he knew this, he true this. He been lying his whole life. So as soon as he said ballroom, I was like, well, this motherfucker really does not care about hosting people. What's the real draw? And then he slipped up a while ago and said, oh, you know, it's going to defend against drones. It's impenetrable. We have bulletproof glass. I'm like, all right, bulletproof glass. Well, what you mean? It's going to shoot down drones. I'm like, oh, hold on. The fuck would you put in your own little iron dome? As a hater, immediately, now I got a pocket watch because, you know, I'm thinking about my own tax dollars. At first, you said, oh, I'm building this private funded. What about the military complex underneath that you're talking about? That There's no details about how big is it? How many people won't be able to be down there? What's going on with that? How much is that costing me to build you a forever home because you're ruining this country? You know people are going to revolt, so you can go hide in the cut like Neosporin like a bitch. Also, it should be very big news that this guy just resigned because he's like, hey, the UN's talking about nuking Iran. And they're saying that that is most likely the only option here, which I've been saying for quite a while because it's a mountain complex. And they're just going to be, well, we can't get to the nuclear enrichment, so we're just going to nuke them, which is fucking insane.
Now, I ain't one to toot my own horn, but I told you motherfuckers a year ago that the ballroom wasn't a ballroom. It's a bunker. And he just confirmed that it's a fucking bunker. He's building the bunker to protect himself because he knew he was going to cause some bullshit and he wanted to be protected. We, on the other hand, are not protected. We can get missiled up, but, well, you know, they want y'all motherfuckers. They saying the black people good. But anyway, the ballroom is a bunker, bitch. A bunker. A decorated fucking bunker. So he can protect himself because he knew what he was getting ready to do. This all has been planned out. This motherfucker has already planned this shit out and he's protecting himself and getting rich. After all the KILLS, after all the unaliving, after all of the grapes, after all of the what, bitch? I'm done.
I need to know what you think we can do with $300 million instead of building a ballroom, which I don't even think it's a ballroom. The bunker is under there. So I think we're actually expanding, fortifying the bunker, or it's just another real estate grift that he is famously known for. Comment below. What do you think? Do you think that we're expanding the bunker because when we take our country back, he needs somewhere to go? Or do you think it's just a grift and he's just openly stealing from us again?
President Trump said the U.S. military is building a massive complex under the new White House ballroom. He went on to say that the ballroom will have high-grade bulletproof glass windows and a drone-proof roof and will essentially be a shed for what's being built under.
Still and under budget. And all of this money, all of the money paid is paid by myself and donors. It's all donors. There's not one dime of government money going into the ballroom. Now the military is building a big complex under the ballroom, which has come out recently because of a stupid lawsuit that was filed. But the military is building a massive complex under the ballroom, and that's under construction, and we're doing very well. So we're ahead of schedule. It's part of it. And the ballroom essentially becomes a shed for what's being built under the military, including from drones and including from any other thing. The glass, on the windows, you see the big windows, the glass is extremely thick. It's high-grade bulletproof glass. So all of the windows are bulletproof. I think the Times wrote to you, some of the windows are fake. We have no fake windows. They talked about a stairway in the South. We don't have a stairway in the South. That was replaced a long time ago. But this is a view of it from the north. And that's, if you see it, it fits in with the White House. It's almost a twin to the White House. It's something we just wanted to pay tribute to the White House. And so that fits in beautifully. Let me just see another one. Here's another one. Excuse me, wait. I thought I'd do this now because it's easier. I'm so busy that I don't have time to do this. But I'm fighting wars and other things. But this is very important because this is going to be with us for a long time. And it's going to be, I think it'll be the greatest ballroom anywhere in the world. It's the highest level. Same height, exact height, if not higher. Same height as the White House, exactly the same height. And if you look, you have the White House over here, you have this, and that's a duplicate of the wall. So it pays total homage to the White House, which is, I think, very important.
Sir, could the president deal in Iran this upcoming week?
Say it?
Sir, could you foresee a deal in Iran this upcoming week?
I do see a deal in Iran.
Mr. President,
could be soon.
Are you considering still putting
Trump's actually building a top secret military complex under his White House ballroom, and the only reason we know about it is because a lawsuit accidentally exposed it. Right, and then you had Trump going ahead and confirming the whole thing himself.
The ballroom essentially becomes a shed for what's being built under the military, including from drones and including from any other thing.
With a lot of people thinking this is a reconstruction of the World War II bunker that sat under the East Wing, which is the one that Trump bulldozed back in October. But then also you got places like the New York Times asking a different question. What the hell is he actually building up top? Right? Because the design plans for the ballroom, they include staircases that lead to nowhere, so many columns that you can barely see out from the inside, and fake windows. All while Trump's likely getting the last green light that he needs this week because the board that has to approve it is taking its preliminary and final vote at the same time. Even though 98% of the 32,000 public comments that were submitted were against it. And of course, the timing of this $400 million Trump vanity project stands out as the DHS shutdown is now in its 6th week. But hey, for now, share to spread the word, get full updates on Substack, links in bio, subscribe for free, and follow to stay in the loop.
So you guys know how our president is building a $300 million ballroom? It was like 2 something they were saying. Now I just heard him say 300 million just I think today or yesterday. I'm getting my days confused. But anyway, he said $300 million for this ballroom. And I know people in the construction industry, you know, the design and architecture industry, and that they build bunkers all the time for billionaires and stuff, and that cost is like crazy. But anyway, today the White House released the list of donors, so we can all see the companies that are helping to build a ballroom / bunker while the world burns and we're in a recession and nobody's getting paid, nobody's getting their SNAP benefits next month. The whole thing's about to fall apart, and they're going to go hide in their bunker. Like, you know, corporations donating to something isn't new. Read the room. Why would you give money to this, knowing everything that's happening and being done, unless you're in on it? So I'm gonna read the list, because I think that if you are like me and think this is all incredibly corrupt and shady and just so many things, you might want to, you know, reevaluate your purchases and investments, is all I'm saying. So here's the list. We got Altria Group, Amazon, Apple, Booz Allen Hamilton, Caterpillar, Coinbase, Comcast, Jay Pepe and Emilia Fanjul, I don't know who they are, Hard Rock International, Google, HP, Lockheed Martin, Meta, Micron, Microsoft, NextEra Energy, Palantir, Ripple, Reynolds American, T-Mobile, Tether America, Union Pacific Railroad. Wow, these are there's some big players. Edelson Family Foundation, is that Sam Edelson? Stephen E. Brody, Betty Wold Johnson Foundation, Charles and Marissa Cascarilla, Edward and Sherry Glazer, Harold Ham, Benjamin Leon Jr., the Lutnick family, the Laura and Isaac Perlmutter Foundation. Who are, I don't even know who any of these people are, but might be time to look into them, huh? And any other, they're definitely not just doing the ballroom. It's also there. I guess there's already a bunker under there, but they're doing upgrades to it. Upgrades. Plus the ballroom, $300 million. And he's also suing the DOJ from like 200. I can't keep track of all these numbers. Guys, this is insane. Yeah, my theory is that they're all involved in this, but also they're securing themselves a spot if things fall apart, because they have to see the news. They see, you know, the footage of the protests. That's why they didn't bother. They have not gotten permits. They got no permits. They didn't go through Congress. They didn't go through the Historical Society. Like there's a whole bunch of protocols, and that's not even how you would do the deconstruction part. Like that, everything they're doing is just shady and rushed. And yeah, that's just my little theory. What do you guys think? Why do you think they're giving money towards something like this? What benefit is there? I mean, I know they're going to get obviously like laws or favors, and that's a given. We know they do that, but I think there might be something more to it, like trying to secure a spot. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy.
Trump needs all the cash he can get. He repeatedly said that this ballroom would cost $200 million, but now he's saying it's $300 million, which is going to buy a lot of ballroom. Just take a look at this scale model. It's going to be bigger than the White House itself. It's going to be 90,000 square feet. 90,000 is about the same size as a professional soccer field. So remember, corporations, as you bribe the president, no hands. Speaking of things that cost too much, we got there. We got there eventually. Got to that joke. Speaking of things that cost too much, beef. Thanks in part to Trump's tariffs, the cost of all meats are skyrocketing. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, or BLT, beef prices are up nearly 14% in the past year, and that covers nearly every cut in the meat sector. Steak prices are 16.6% higher. Beef roasts are up 13.6%. Even ground beef prices are up 12.8%. Can you imagine how expensive that beef would be if it didn't fall on the ground?
So not only did Trump confirm my theory about what's being built underneath the ballroom, but he also called me unpatriotic.
This ballroom is going to be something that's so beautiful for the city, so desperately needed by presidents. I mean, now it's no secret the military wanted it more than anybody. It was supposed to be secret, but it became unsecret because of people that are really unpatriotic saying things.
The ballroom must have really been on your mind a lot yesterday, Donnie, because that wasn't the first time you brought it up, was it?
Did they sue him? I build under budget, ahead of schedule. And by the way, there's no cost. I'm building the ballroom, and it's a very big thing with the military and everything else. Military is very much involved. It's a big, big deal, and it's great. It's going to be beautiful.
Could it be because on April 2nd, that same commission is also voting on this? A 33,000 square foot underground facility you want built beneath Sherman Park as part of this underground AI data center apparatus that maybe you need the votes for next week? In any case, being called unpatriotic by you tells me that I am doing right by my country. Yeah, so Trump is not building a ballroom. And I feel like I've known this in my soul, but now I feel like I have irrefutable proof, thanks to Andrew Kerr, an architect who posted on Facebook a few days ago and blew this case wide open. And he, by the way, has over 20 years of experience working on federal projects, and he walked through in his Facebook post step by step why this does not make any sense, this ballroom. I mean, for one, he just kind of did the math. $300 million at 90,000 square feet would be about $3,333 per square foot. He said that even luxury federal construction doesn't usually approach $1,000 per square foot. He also mentioned the geometry of these renderings being nearly impossible because the renderings are showing a building that would need a 380 by 235 foot footprint, but the interior views show maybe 200 by 100 feet. And that's only 20,000 square feet, so that can't exist in the same building. Not to mention that the construction drawings, he said, look like they were thrown together in about a week, and I think that that's pretty generous considering I think that they were probably thrown together by Grok within, I don't know, a couple of minutes. Probably by Big Balls or whoever's still wandering around the White House from Doge. So the $1 million question then becomes, well then what is he building? And the answer, I think, is that he's building an underground data center. Hear me out. Think about where they're building, because it's not random, it's the East Wing, and that's where the PEOC bunker is. And just think about the significance of that, because that is where the tunnel systems are that connect the White House to the Treasury to the other federal buildings. It's where all of the secure communications infrastructure lives. I mean, that's prime real estate, just underground. Honestly, this kind of reminds me of the Oracle data centers that Larry Ellison built underground in Jerusalem. You know, the ones that were 9 stories deep, 160 feet below the ground, 460,000 square feet. And guess how much those cost? $319 million per bunker. Yeah, and the White House is already at $300 million for this ballroom, and it's only climbing. Fiscally, it feels like a more apt comparison, I feel like. Even outside of the architecture anomalies, the fact that this is privately funded should have been our first red flag. I mean, this is Donald Trump we're talking about, baby. I mean, the man who has absolutely no problem spending taxpayer money on stuff that just benefits him. This is the same guy who spent over $3.9 billion in taxpayer money just to make over Air Force One. Didn't he also make Secret Service pay to stay at Mar-a-Lago? Like he charged the room bill to them? Just ridiculous. So when he suddenly won't spend spend government money on this means this isn't actually serving him. This means that this is serving someone else specifically. Look at the donor list. You've got defense contractors like Lockheed Martin and Booz Allen Hamilton, and you've got tech giants like Amazon, Apple, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Palantir. You've got crypto companies like Coinbase, Ripple, and Tether, and then telecoms like T-Mobile and Comcast. These aren't people who are funding a party space. These are companies who have very specific interests in government infrastructure, government data, and government operations. Don't get it twisted. They are funding infrastructure that very directly serves them. Also, think about Larry Ellison's vision, the one that he spoke about in the keynote the other day that I made a video on, the part where he said that he wants to automate the government. I mean, a lot of these tech pros have been talking about automating the government. And if you want to automate federal operations or create a single digital platform for the government, then that means you need a supremely secure physical home for that system. And by placing it directly under the White House, you eliminate latency problems and you ensure that the President of the United States has direct physical control over the system's core. Because remember, it's about centralizing control and securing the brain of the government. I know it sounds very dystopian, and in many ways it's because it is. But these are very real things that are happening around the world. And the companies that are funding this, well, they're buying access. They want their systems integrated to how the government operates. And that's what $300 million will get you, I guess.
This just in, you're so wrapped up in hearing about the demolition of the White House that you're not finding out that the east wing of the White House is above the presidential bunker. The project is entirely funded by billionaires, and it's atop the safest bunker in our country. I'm not going to do the math for you. You're just going to have to learn some simple addition and do it yourself. Okay, thanks, bye.
All right, y'all. So now you know the real reason why Donald Trump needed this ballroom to be built, because it really wasn't a ballroom. It's all about the bunker underneath. Like we couldn't catch on to that. Okay, Danielle Meyer, thank you so much for your super chat. Shalom, Miss Lisa. All of this that they're doing with them folks running underground makes me think about when Minister Farrakhan talked about earthquakes in diverse places. Yeah, that's in the Bible. And these earthquakes will be unprecedented, no escape. Yeah, well, those predictions were from thousands of years ago. And yeah, it will. And we already do see earthquakes in diverse places. That's already happening. So thank you for your support from my channel. I deeply appreciate it. Lisa Jackson, thank you for your super chat. This time the Jan Sixers are going to remove him. And not unless he go duck and dodge like a little bitch underground. So thank you so much for your support from my channel. I mean, really, Donald Trump? So this world, if it falls apart, he think he and Melania and big old giant Barron are going to be left here to restart everything again. Okay, yeah, that's a stretch even for you, Donald Trump. Well, we had some in New Jersey, and we never had a lot of earthquakes, but it was a lot, especially in 2024 and 2025. It's starting to become more and more. And they claim it's a dormant fault line. Yeah, I mean, a lot. Look, even the tornadoes, even that's getting bigger. Yeah, well, that's why Ezra, that's why a lot of people are calling it Operation Epstein Files, the war. Yeah, that's what they're calling it. 'Cause, he's deflecting from the Epstein files. Yeah, well, Donald Trump he's what, almost 80 years old. He may go down there and never come back up. 80 years old. He you know, and you look like hell at 80 years old on top of that. Yeah, so he may be going down there and never emerge again. Mhm. Yeah, well, if he wants to go down there, let him go down there. I don't think things are going to go as he plans this time around. I don't think it's going to turn out like he think. He got this idea of being safe in bunkers because all these rich people do. You know, they all got the idea that they're going to be safe in those bunkers, and they're not going to be safe down there at all. But hey, seeing is believing. So, look, y'all, the bottom line is Donald Trump got a lot of reasons for running down to a bunker, especially after starting this war, you know? So, we shall see. I don't think this summer is going to go as planned. I don't think the bunkers are going to go as planned, you know? And if they're going as big as 33,000 square feet, yeah, they're practically putting a town underground. That's what they're doing. Hmm. Oh, yeah. I think by the summer, it's going to be a lot of people fighting on the side of Iran. I do. I do. And it's going to be Israel and yeah, Israel and the U.S. against the world. And they're not going to have any way to win. Hmm. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll come back together tomorrow and do this on all new topics. Shalom, family.